Hi everybody, this is Lisa from Mama Unraveled. Apologize about the light back there. My cat keeps climbing up back there and wanting to look out the window. Just wants to be right here for some reason, but that's okay. So, I have a tendency to try to calculate how much yarn I need, especially right now. I am ordering new yarn and making things from it and designing things, but then I'm also trying to use up things that are in my stash too. Now, I love to know how much each item, how many yards I might need for a project before I go into it, and if I'll have enough. So, I did it a couple weeks ago when I was trying to order yarn for a project. I wanted to see how many yards I needed. Now, I'm looking to make, I want to make a vintage blanket by Dada's place. It's very beautiful. I cannot wait to work that up. But before I ordered that yarn, I was trying to figure out how many yards do I need. So originally I thought about making it from some of the yarn I had, but I wasn't sure if I had enough yards, and I'm glad that I did that calculation, because when I figured it out, when I did that math, it requires 6,300 yards according to my math. Now, let me get that swatch and I'll show you the block I did to do the swatch. Now, when I worked up that swatch, I just made it with Brava Sport, which was what I was originally going to use. I had bought a whole bunch of blue to make a sweater or a cardigan or something, which I haven't had a chance to do yet. But I decided to use it to make my little swatch, which I'm probably going to rip out. But look how beautiful that is. Those baubles. And when they come together, this makes a little diamond with a diamond inside. So I made this, and I counted how many double crochets were used. So it did, I counted every double crochet in my little baubles, and I earlier had done swatches. I had done it for worsted weight, and I had done it for a DK weight yarn, and I had done little swatches to see how many yards it would take to make a single crochet, half double crochet, and a double crochet blanket. And I calculated how many inches each stitch requires, and I used that math to figure out how many yards I would need if I made it in a DK or worsted weight yarn. Now, that made me think, does anyone else wonder how many yards it takes to make a blanket, maybe a small one or a big one? Now, I decided to make a chart, and this is the first video, and I'll do some more, but I have swatches here. I have a single crochet swatch and a half double crochet swatch and a double crochet swatch. And I am going to go and rip these apart, and I'm going to measure it, and I'll calculate make sure I know how many stitches there are, and calculate how many inches it is per stitch. Now, this time I made a bigger swatch, so it might not be more accurate because I made a tiny one last time. And every swatch has a 6-inch tail on either end, just so we know that there's an extra foot in there that I can take out after I measure the length of the yarn. Okay. And I will be back when I let you know how many there are, how many yards there are in the swatch, and I'll let you know how many inches it takes for each stitch. Okay, so these are our 3 swatches. You have there's the single crochet, the half double crochet, and the double crochet. Now, all 3 of these were made with a J hook, and they were also 24 stitches wide. Now, the rows varied because I tried to get them all to about 7 inches. But before I undo them, just wanted to show that this is my double crochet swatch. And then if you put my half double crochet swatch on there, now I did enough rows till it was the same height, but if you see right before, see the half double crochet is just slightly skinnier. And then we'll put the single crochet on top. And it is even smaller. Let's see if I can zoom in there. So you see double crochet is a little bit wider, the half double crochet is just a little bit smaller, and then the single crochet is a little bit smaller than that. So we'll see how this works up, how many yards it takes to make these blankets, and let's go measure them. From measuring the squares, as expected, single crochet required the most yarn, half double crochet was the second most, and then double crochet was the least. Now half double crochet and double crochet were a little closer than I thought they'd be. And so let's go ahead and see what numbers I got. And I'll post this on my blog, so this way you can see, actually see what it is, and I'll make a chart so this way you can always reference it when you need to know how much yardage you need to make a blanket. Now for a single crochet, the single crochet swatch using the J hook, it was 24 stitches by 32 rows. So, and it came out to 6 inches by 7 inches for the block. That block was 45 yards, 1 foot and 10 inches. Now based on that math, it was about we'll just round up, 2.14 inches for each stitch. Now using that math, I calculated how many rows and stitches I would need for a 36 by 36 inch blanket. Based on my gauge with a J hook, it was 144 stitches by 165 rows, and that meant I needed approximately 1,412 yards for a 36 by 36 inch baby blanket. Now I did a 60 by 60 inch blanket just so you'd have an idea for an adult blanket, and for that you would need it would be 240 stitches by 275 rows, and then it was 3,920 yards you would need. I do tend to crochet a little bit tight. Even when I loosen my gauge, I'm still a very tight crocheter. I have trouble. I usually have to tweak other people's patterns when I make them because I crochet so tightly. So when gauge is important for them, I usually end up having to add stitches and rows just to make it even out. But even though I crochet tightly, that I thought this would still be a good guide. Because especially for things like, I ordered the Mary Maxim mystery box that I shared a few videos ago. I got 2 boxes, and I got 3 skeins of one kind in one box, and then they sent me 3 skeins of the same kind in the other box. And I'm thinking, I have 6 skeins of this. What could I do with it? So this is a good way, especially now when you're trying to use up your stash. You can look at these numbers and figure out how much yardage you need to make a single crochet, a half double crochet versus a double crochet blanket, and you can look and see how many yards you have and get an idea if you have enough of that color or that type of yarn, what you could add to it to have enough. Now for half double crochet, I did a 24 it was 24 stitches by 19 rows, and that got me a 6.5 by 7 inch block, and that was 40 yards and 7 inches. So for a 36 by 36 inch block, I needed 133 stitches, 98 rows, and that was 1,149 yards for the baby blanket. Now that's about 300 yards less than the single crochet for that one. And then for the 60 by 60 inch, it was 222 stitches in the row and 163 rows. and that one required 3,190 yards. So that the adult size blanket is about 800 yards less than single crochet. And then let me just show you, should have showed you that before. That's the single crochet math and the half double crochet math, and then let's go over the double crochet. So double crochet, it was 24 stitches by 14 rows, and that was about 6 7/8 inches wide and 7 inches tall. For the baby size blanket, 36 inches by 36 inches, that you would need 126 stitches by 72 rows, and it will be 1,085 yards. So that's only about 65 yards less than what I got for half double crochet, but that's a whole 330 yards less than single crochet. Now for the adult size blanket, it's 210 stitches by 120 rows, and you would need about 3,013 yards. So that's a good 800 yards less than single crochet. Here's a good reference, and I will post this on my website, and I will link it down below. This way it's a guide that you can look at. And as each week I'm going to try to get some more blocks done and measure them. So this way you'll have a guide and you can look at the different stitches and see how much yardage you need, whether you're ordering yarn to make a specific blanket in a certain stitch, or whether you're going through your stash and looking to see if you have enough yards. Okay. I may even create a Excel sheet so you can plug in the size you need, and it'll tell you how many yards not sure if I'm going to do that or not, because my gauge is tighter. This is just supposed to be a ballpark number, so you know how much yarn you need or you need to order. But if you would still like that, let me know, comment down below, and I can create that Excel sheet for you. Okay, that's it. If you have any questions about these numbers, feel free to email me or put a comment down below, and go ahead to my website and check out the chart that I made with these. And as I go, as I add more stitches, I will add to this chart, so it'll be a nice chart you can look at. If any questions or comments, I'm be happy to answer it, or any suggestions, let me know. Okay, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video.